Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to Chase Academy. I hope that you're doing well. I'm your instructor Zia Hamid. I hope that now, students, we will, with a fresh pair of eyes and minds, we are going to cover our students' learning outcome of today. Let's talk about our learning outcome. Now we are talking about English 11's unit number 5, and we are on lecture 6. Now today, students, the SLO that we are going to cover is according to the competency of reading comprehension. Reading and critical thinking is what we are going to do today in order to understand and grasp these learning outcomes. So let's get started by reading the SLOs. First one says, analyze organizational patterns in a text, cause and effect, and problem solution patterns. So students, when we are talking about a text, anything that is written, they are based upon different patterns. You can find cause and effect relationship and also problem solution relationship or pattern in any text. So we need to understand that how we can identify cause and effect and problem solution in any kind of text that we have. They're mostly found in non-fictional texts. You can find them in formal letters. You can find them in essays, articles, blogs, informational texts, and all those different types of texts that we have. Then we will examine that how an author develops and contrasts the points of view of different characters or narrators in a text. Now students, we will do this students learning outcome in the next lecture. Today our focus is on our SLO over here, because this is about your non-fictional text and the next one is about stories. This is about fiction. So we have reserved the fictional SLO, the fiction related SLO, for any other lecture. However, I have introduced you with this students learning outcome, but we are focusing on organizational patterns in our text. So I hope that we are clear about the learning outcome today. Now students, here is your vertical linkage that links your SLO with the previous grade for your additional information. You can also look for the number according to the curriculum, and in the same SLO in grade 10, we covered these different organizational patterns. So there is not only problem solution or cause and effect, but you can also find relationships or patterns when we are reading a text. You can talk about, you can find comparison and contrast, and also different links and different ideas. When there are more than one ideas mentioned in a very chronological order in a text, we can say that this text is having a pattern. Whenever a text is following these patterns, they can be classified accordingly. Now students, let's talk about our brainstorming session. Let's think about for a moment. What do you understand by cause, effect, and problem solution in a text? Are these pairs, are these organizational patterns interchangeable, or are they different? Yes. So first, students, we have 4 terms over here: cause, effect, problem, solution. Cause is when something occurs, an action happens, something happened, that would become the reason of the result, which is what we call effect. So effect is the reason, is the result, is the consequences, and they are what happens in reaction of a cause. So when you find this kind of organizational patterns where the writer or the author is talking about cause and then identifying the results of that cause that occurring, then that would be classified as cause effect organizational pattern. And if you have a problem in your essays, you have identified a problem for which there are solutions given, then that would be called a problem solution text. There are problem solution essays, passages, and paragraphs that you can find, and then you can answer the questions afterwards, the reading comprehension questions, accordingly. So it is very important that we understand that what is cause effect and what is problem solution relationship. Now let's first talk about problem solution. Students, we are aware of a problem. It is something that we identify and then we find solutions for. For example, if you read this passage, the local school board has an issue because they cannot find enough substitute teachers to cover teacher absences. One possible remedy would be to significantly raise the pay so that the substitutes from other districts would change where they work. Students, if you translate it in your native language, if you understand it, then the passage says that the local school board has an issue. Now we have a problem. Now there are some tag words, some words that are highlighting what our problem is. So words like issue, problem, crisis, all of them are representing our problem. Issue because they cannot find enough substitute teachers to cover the teachers' absences. So the problem, according to the passage, is that for absent teachers, there are not enough substitute teachers. And this is a very big issue because the classes are not covered up by teachers and students are waiting for somebody to come and teach them. So this is a problem. Now, in the next paragraph, in the next line, you can find solution. Of course, every problem has a solution, and this is why we write and read problem solution essays to clarify ourselves and understand that how that problem would be eradicated. One possible remedy or solution would be to significantly raise the pays of the teachers so that substitutes from other districts would change where they work. So this is a solution proposed by the writer of this passage. So hence, we can say that the organizational pattern in this text is problem and solution. We have a problem and then there are solutions given. Now, one problem can have different and multiple solutions to eradicate the problem once and for all. So students, in such kind of an essay, you can find a problem mentioned in the introductory paragraph in the first few lines, and then the following paragraphs, the following sentences are the solutions that are proposed to eliminate the problem. And this is what we mean by problem solution organizational pattern that we find in a text. So these examples clarify it really well. I hope that you have understood. Now, let's talk about this example. Park schools had a terrible problem. Every day at recess, students would argue over the slides. So this is a problem. How is it a problem? Because students are arguing over. And this creates noise pollution, this creates an unrest in the school, and hence we need to eradicate it. So this is your problem. Teachers had to spend time every day taking care of the students, of the arguments. Finally, one teacher came up with a great solution. And what is that solution? They bought another set of slides that everyone could enjoy. So we had a problem and then we proposed a solution. This is also an example of problem solution essay. So if you categorize this, this is not comparison or contrast. This is not listing or sequencing different ideas. Rather, this is talking about a problem with words like problem, crisis, and issues. Then you can clearly, it will lead you to the solution, and then you can clearly mark it as problem solution text. Now, students, I hope you have understood the first half of the student learning outcome. Let's talk about cause effect. They sound similar, they may be confusing sometimes, but these are different things. Cause, as we talked about it at the start of the lecture, cause is the action, that occurring that happened, and it has a reaction which we call effect. So we have a cause and effect relationship. Nothing happens without a reason or without some kind of consequences. When you explain why things happen and what occurs when they do, the technique you use is called cause and effect. When you are explaining in your text that why something happened and what occurs that lead to that thing happening. So we are talking about a cause and effect relationship. Cause is occurrence and effect is the reaction or the result, or you can also call it consequences. So students, similarly in the problem solution text, we can find that there can be multiple effects and multiple consequences or results of one single action or one single occurring or happening. So you can clearly make an organizational chart and organize the cause and effects of any text. Let's look at some examples. He broke his arm. The doctor puts his arm in a cast. Now, if we just take this part first, he broke his arm. Now, when he broke his arm, now the arm would be treated, and the effect that happened is that the doctor put his arm in a cast. So if you take this part, the doctor put his arm in a cast, so then there must be something happened which allowed the doctor to put his arm in a cast. And what was that? That was our cause. Cause is breaking the arm, and in a result, in the consequences, a cast was wrapped up or put up by the doctor on his arm. So this is a very beautiful relationship that we can find in a text, and they are highly connected with each other. Now let's talk about an example using a prose, a passage. Now, let's see. Automation is the use of machines to reduce the need for human labor. In other words, automation is when jobs done by people become jobs done by robots. Automation can be a good thing. Because of automation, clothing, cars, and other manufactured products are available at good prices and in large supply. But automation can also be a bad thing. Because of automation, there are over 700,000 robots in America alone that do jobs once performed by humans. The way of automation may not be best for humanity, but it is the course we are taking. Now, students, we can see that there is an organizational pattern mentioned over here. Now, we have covered this in a chart for your understanding. Machines do human jobs. And when machines are doing human jobs, then there will be results, cheap products and fewer jobs. So cheap products is a very good effect. It's a very good result. When machines are doing human jobs, we find things easily with less cost, and also the products will be cheap and easy to buy. But there is also a negative effect. Negative effect is that humans will have fewer jobs because the jobs are taken by machines. And this is what we mean by a cause and effect relationship. Now students, you can see that we find a cause and two effects. One can be a positive and the other can be considered negative according to the context. So this is how we explain cause and effect. So when you are reading your text, the basic thing is that you highlight with different colors, with intonations, you highlight the causes and what are the results of that occurrence or that cause. So in this way, you can list down your cause and effect and give it a graphical representation, just like we have seen over here. And in this way, you can clearly identify the organizational pattern of a text. And this proves to be very helpful in answering questions in your exams when you are asked to answer some comprehension questions. Now, let's talk about some more example of cause and effect. Now, what is the purpose? The purpose is to describe the causes or reasons for an event, to describe the effects or consequences of an event. This is what we mean by, and this is the purpose of learning and identifying cause and effect relationship. We describe the causes or reasons, and then we describe the effects or the results or consequences of that event, of that occurrence. So there are three main types. Number one, cause. If you want to show why something happened, then you will discuss causes, because causes lead to effects. So this answers the question why. Now there may be direct causes and indirect causes. Direct causes are those that are clearly linked to the event that occurred. That's why we call them direct causes. Indirect causes are those that may not seem obviously connected, but that the writer may choose to focus on to reveal to the reader a more in-depth explanation of why something happened. So causes can be direct and indirect. This is the key takeaway from this passage. For example, we have a topic, ozone depletion. Direct cause will be too many CFCs in the atmosphere, and indirect causes will be volcanic release of carbon monoxide into the air, automobile emissions, air appliance emissions. So the basic and the direct cause is too many CFCs in the atmosphere, and eventually that will lead to more indirect causes, and then we will have some effects as well. Now, if we talk about the result of these occurrences, these events or happenings, we look for the effects. If you want to show the results of an occurrence, then you will discuss effects. These two may be direct or indirect, depending on the desire of the writer. Now, let's say we have a topic called drug use. What will be the direct effect of drug use? You will have negative results on the body, negative impact on relationships. This is the direct effect. Indirect effect would be higher crime rate. People will be looking for drugs, they will do crimes, weaker social structure, higher healthcare costs. These are also effects, but they will be considered secondary and indirect. However, they are equally important, but they are called indirect effects. So similarly, the way we divided causes into two types, the results and the effects will also be divided into two types. These are the important key takeaways from this lecture of today's students, that cause and effect share a very close and connected relationship, and one thing leads to another, and you can trace the effects to the causes as well. So they work like that, and one thing will tell you about the other thing easily. If you have an effect, then you can go to the cause, and if you have a cause, then you can easily look for the effects. Students, here is your worksheet regarding the cause and effect text organizational pattern, and you have to read the given text and find the causes and effects as mentioned and write it on the line as they are, as the spaces are given. Now students, Just like your worksheet, you will also get a skill sheet that will be talking about problem solution organizational text, where you have to read a passage, read multiple passages, find out the problems, and then find out the solutions. Write them down in a chart, make a column, and list them down. And in this way, you can answer any kind of question regarding organizational patterns in your examination, in your exams. Students, we will talk about other organizational text patterns like comparison, contrast, and listing or giving different sequences of ideas. We will talk about it in some other lecture, but at this point, the focus should be on cause and effect and also problem solution. Remember that they are different things. Cause and effect. Cause is an occurrence, an action that will have a result in the form of an effect. And problem is the problem for which the essay or the text is written for by the writer to propose some solutions. So you can find the problem at the very start of the essay, and then the leading paragraphs, the sentences will be proposing solutions, and there will be multiple solutions with examples. So this is the key takeaway from this lecture of today, students. Now it's up to you to solve the resources, go to the worksheet and skill sheet, and read different kinds of texts to identify cause and effect and problem solution relationship. I will see you in the next video lesson with another interesting students learning outcome. Till then, take care of yourselves and Allah Hafiz.